I'm back, and today we are going to chat about scale weight, and we're going to chat about plateaus when we're on a weight loss journey. Two things that I think are very emotive and that people sometimes get a bit confused, or maybe they hyper focus on the wrong thing. And so this is a really important subject. So let's get right into it. And we're going to start with scale weight. We need to know what the scale weight is. In the big picture of weight loss, scale weight is just a tiny, tiny dot of information, of data. And we need to know how to use this data. So we're either going to have it as part of a big picture, or we're not going to have it at all. There's no in between with that. We can't just, well, we can randomly just get on the scales, but if we do, we're not going to be seeing the right information, and we're probably going to interpret that in the wrong way. The best way to use a scale, if you're going to be weighing, is to get on that scale every single day and understand that that scale weight is going to go up and it's going to come down for many, many different reasons. What reasons could it possibly be? There's sleep, there's salty food, there's workouts, how much you've drunk water, what you've eaten, and loads of other things, hormones, or there's so many different things that affect the scale weight. So know that it's going to go up and it's going to come back down, and that means your body's working properly, and that is completely normal. So the best way to do it is to weigh yourself every day and then take an average for the week, and this will kind of give you where you are. But know that the scale weight isn't always your true weight. Why is that? Well, one, because of all of these things that we've listed just a minute ago. But also it just takes a while to catch up. So if you're going to be weighing, you want to be taking measurements and photographs as well, because they give you a much better picture. Your scale weight can be going up while your measurements can be coming down. Your clothes might feel a bit looser. You might look more defined in your photographs. The weight will be redistributed around your body. If you don't take the measurements, if you don't take the photographs, if you don't notice what you're eating and how you feel and what your clothes feel like, then you're going to get really confused if you're just looking at that scale weight. But if you look at it as a whole big picture, it starts to make more sense. So you need to know, am I someone that's going to weigh myself, or am I going to be somebody who just doesn't bother and uses other things for the measurement? And there's many things we can use for measurement. As I just said, you could use measuring, you can use pictures, you can use an item of clothing that maybe is a little bit tight and you want to you want it to be a bit looser. Also, we can go on things like, if you walk regularly, how fast you walk, how out of breath you get. If you're someone that lifts weights, like what are your personal bests? Can you start lifting heavier? Are you performing better? All of those things show that your health and wellness is improving. It's not all about that number on the scales. Like, I'm going to keep saying it, it's just a tiny dot of data in a much, much bigger picture. So let's not get hung up on that scale number. Your worth is not connected to your number. How you're doing in your journey is not connected to that number. It is just a number. And so with all of that said, if you are way more comfortable not weighing, then get rid of those scales and don't weigh, and use all of the other things to interpret how you are doing on your journey and how you feel you're doing on your weight loss journey. If you have to do the scales, let's do it every day. The worst thing you can do is to just randomly jump on a scale at a random time, a random point in the week. It doesn't mean anything. It might have gone down loads and you might be like, yay, but also on the other scale of that, it might have shot right up, and you won't have any reasoning behind it. And I know that people get very emotive with that number, and it literally can ruin people's days. So let's put all of the knowledge that we have with that information so that we are using it in the correct way. And if it's really making us miserable, let's just get rid of it. We don't need it. So I said we were going to talk about scale weight. I did say we were going to talk about plateaus, and they are kind of connected because we expect, even though we know that quick fixes and diet culture and all of that stuff, even though we know it doesn't work and it takes way longer than we're expecting, we still expect every time we get on the scales for the scales to have gone down. And sometimes they don't. Sometimes they travel along at the same, or they, like I say, they bump up and down for way longer than you expect. And it's in that moment where people say, I've hit a plateau, it's not working, I don't know, I need to change it up, maybe I need a new diet, maybe I need to work out differently, maybe what I'm eating isn't right. There's so many things that come up, and it may be that you just haven't given yourself enough time, because if you're just looking at that scale weight, like we just said, it'll go along or it'll be going up and down before it goes down in a whoosh. And probably over time, if you are regularly weighing day in, day out, and then you looked at 6 months, it might be doing this, but it might be doing it in a downward trend. And that's the bit that's important, not that spikes here and there because maybe you've had some salty food, or maybe you didn't drink enough water, or maybe you had a terrible night's sleep. As we said, there are lots of things that affect it. So when we come to the plateau, is it a real plateau, or have we slacked off? Have we stopped doing the things that we know work? Quite often I speak to clients and they say, oh, it's just stopped now. Like, I was doing really well, but everything stopped and now my weight started to go back up. And it's not usually the case. It's usually that maybe they've stopped walking as much as they were, maybe they're not drinking as much water as they were before, maybe they had been very, very conscious of the food they were eating and they were tracking every single thing and they were weighing things, and maybe they've stepped back and relaxed that a little bit. So it isn't that it's not working and it isn't that they've plateaued, it's just they've stopped doing what they were doing. Doesn't mean they've ruined anything, it means that it's slowed down. They want it to speed back up a little bit more, then you need to be really focused. But it's very difficult for us to be super highly motivated and focused day in and day out for a very long period of time. So if you are someone that has been on a weight loss journey for say 3 or 4 months, and you have found, or you think that you are in this plateau area, maybe just have a look and maybe see what you're doing. Have you just stepped back and relaxed everything because you've been doing it so closely for so long? And if that is you and you have, that's amazing, and don't worry. We need to just have that little bit of a rest, and then you can get back to it, because that little bit of a rest, that's like practice maintenance, because at some point you're going to get into your life where you don't want to be micro focused on weighing your food and tracking all your calories. You're going to want to do it by eye. You are going to want to be a little bit more relaxed in it, but you will have that knowledge, and so you can. So just think of those pause moments as like a practice and maintenance. And then when you're ready, go back to tracking, because tracking can be exhausting. Some of us like it, some of us find it very difficult. I don't particularly like tracking, so I dip in and out of it just to make sure that I'm doing what I think I'm doing, because of course we know that we naturally underestimate everything that we're doing rather than overestimating. So the plateau is the thing that trips people up, and it's usually in that plateau where we say, oh, it's not working, I'm going to have to change it, or oh, it's not working, that I'm just going to go and eat everything and I'm just going to stop. It's that moment. If you keep going with your plan, keep going with what you know, it will start again. Very rarely are people in true plateaus. It's usually something that you stopped doing. So just take yourself back, notice what you're doing, have a look at the food. Have you started, having those mouthfuls that you're not tracking, or have you started giving yourself slightly bigger portions? Or maybe it's just a part of your time of your year where you're out a bit more and you're a bit more active, so you are taking in more calories because you're socializing more. Things like summer barbecues, when all of those lovely salads and dips and crisps and all that sort of thing, you think to yourself, oh yeah, it was quite good, I just had a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But quite often you can stand and eat more than you're actually thinking. So it's just about taking stock of what you're doing, taking yourself back to the beginning, to that awareness stage of your weight loss, where you actually can evaluate, what is it that I'm putting in my mouth? How am I really moving? What am I actually doing? And then you can retweak it, and then you'll find that it will start to go back down again, and you weren't really plateauing. It wasn't that it wasn't working, it was just that you weren't doing the same thing. Always come at it with kindness and without judgment, because that's why we use that word journey. It's a horrible word and it gets banded around, but that's why people use the word journey, because it is a journey, it's a process, it's not linear, it goes up and down, but there are things that happen, we stop and start, but all the time, if we're doing it with thought and we're doing it with awareness and we know what we're doing, we're not doing it wrong and we're not failing. And yes, we can pause, yes, we can maintain, yes, we can have days where we want to completely indulge in what's going on because maybe it's a really important memory moment. There's so many different reasons. It's the next action, it's what we do next when we start, okay, that was then, it was lovely, I've enjoyed it, and now I'm back moving with my plan towards my goals without judgment, being happy. There's no rush. We didn't get to where we are within 6 weeks. The weight is not going to come off us in 6 weeks. It's going to take time, and we want to be able to do it sustainably. We want to be able to enjoy life. We don't want to be the person that's saying, no, I'm sorry, I can't come out this evening because I've got to have my calories and I've got to track everything and I couldn't possibly go over for one day. That's not what we're here for living for at all. We need to enjoy all things in balance. So let's have a little bit of a recap. The plateau probably isn't a plateau. It probably hasn't stopped working. You just need to have a little look at what you're doing and reevaluate where you are, and then you can move forward. And then with the scale weight, how are we using the scale weight? Are you jumping on every day? Are you jumping on randomly? Are you fixating on that number, or are you looking at it as a part of a bigger picture? Both these things lock together really well, because both of them are things that we think that are going on that aren't necessarily going on, and we can use them to trip ourselves up. So let's not trip ourselves up. Let's have that knowledge in our head. Let's know what we're doing, use that information wisely, and know that the scale weight and this plateau is not always correct. If we have our plan and we keep to our plan and we keep moving forwards, we absolutely can succeed. I hope that's helped. If you have any questions at all, please drop them in the comments. Remember to like, share, subscribe if you haven't subscribed so you don't miss anything, and I will speak to you very soon.